everybody. Welcome back to Kids in the Kitchen, our series with the Halifax Public Libraries. My name is Claire, and I am the owner of Bite-Sized Kitchen, my company that teaches kids how to cook. And I'm so excited to be here today and to cook a couple of recipes with you. And I have a couple of assistants. Their names are Cash and Polly. And they're back with me too, which makes me really, really happy. These are two of my three kids. And we're going to make two recipes for you today. The first one we have all laid out here. What's this first one we're making, Polly?
Apple crisp.
Yeah, and what are we going to make after we make the apple crisp, Cash? Remember the other recipe?
Zucchini cakes.
Yeah, we're going to make zucchini cakes. They also have some potato and some onion in them. And
apple crisp is very good. Maybe you can make this while you're watching this video right now, because and make it for a special dessert after dinner tonight.
Yeah, so this apple crisp.
If your kids don't whine that they want.
And as you see, we have a sign saying the name. Bite-Sized Kitchen.
So great. So.
And we hang it on blocks on the fridge.
So yeah, we're at home in our home kitchen, where you guys all are, I'm sure, too. So this is a very easy recipe to make in your home kitchen. I preheated the oven already. So the oven is at 350 degrees, and we have all of our ingredients here for apple crisp. Yeah. And Cash is right. You can have it for dessert. You can have it in the afternoon, whenever you like, really. So Polly's going to start making the topping. So there's two parts to this recipe. The topping that goes on top of the apples, and then the filling, which is the apples and a few other things. So Polly's going to start with the topping. So Polly is going to show us how to scoop up. We have brown sugar, flour, oats, and
butter.
Yeah. So we have 1 stick of butter. And we have a cup each of these other 3 ingredients, and that's it for the topping.
And this melted butter is for something else.
That's right.
We're going to put it on the stove.
Yeah. In fact, Cash, would you do that right now? We'll do it together.
Okay.
Let's do that before we start on the topping. You hold that. This is something you can get your grown-up to help you with. We're going to turn on the stove to melt it on low. So Polly's going to mix all these ingredients together. So Polly, let's scoop 1 cup of each of these ingredients. So you use the spoon, you fill up each ingredient up to the top.
Okay. See the sugar I'm doing? Okay, good.
And here, I'm going to leave this cup here, and Polly's going to show you when she finishes scooping it in. I'm going to put some butter on the pan, which is important. So you see I'm putting butter all over this pan. Polly's filling up.
And he's 7, I'm 6.
Brown sugar, you want it packed in. And these are great jobs.
We're going to do the apple crisp in.
That's right. These are great jobs for young kids, like you maybe, because they're pretty straightforward, and the little hands are really good at doing these jobs. Very good. So Polly's going to put that in with the butter. Our pan is ready. You can dump that all in.
Maybe you're the same age as one of us.
And
okay,
now,
can't hear you through the screen, but...
Now we're going to do flour. So actually this you could actually just scoop that in, or you could just do it like that. Now, while Polly's measuring those ingredients, Cash is going to prepare the apple for us. So this is somewhere between 8 and 10 apples. I think there's already 9 in here. You can use any kind of apple, actually. These are kind of small ones. So you want the apples to have no cores and no skin. So I've already peeled half this, but I'm going to show you how I peel. I'm going to show you how I peel this apple like this. See, you just take your peeler and you do this all the way around. This is kind of a grown-up task.
See? Now the flour is nice and smooth.
That's perfect. That can go in the same bowl with the butter. Very good, Polly. Okay, so Polly's going to do the oats, and Cash is showing how to peel the apple.
You need to be very careful.
Yeah, so, yeah, that's good.
Just try to get the skin, don't get the,
And now you see the oats. Good. But I can't really hear you because you're in the screen. Maybe you can hear us, but I can't hear you.
Yeah, I know you can hear us.
And sometimes you spill, so that's why you always have to watch what you
And sometimes you can do this if it's a bit.
Yeah, the other thing you can
like
do
using
is,
it as a knife.
the other thing you can do sometimes is peel it like away from yourself, like sort of move it like this.
Yeah.
That either way works. You just have to be very, very careful, of course, because peelers are sharp. So yeah, and then very good. And
everything's in the bowl.
let's mix that all together with the spoon. So now Cash is going to show you how to cut up the apple. We're going to use the one that's all peeled because you don't want the core. So you want to cut the pieces off the core. So Cash is going to show
You
you.
have to be really careful. And always keep the knife very straight. Like, don't tilt it like that.
I've
Always
not had
keep
apple
it
crisp
very
long
straight,
time.
just like this. Never tilt it.
Yeah.
Always-
Yeah.
So it's great.
When it comes to this part, you should always keep the
Yeah.
flat side down instead of doing it like this. You should always do it like that.
Yeah, exactly
And
right.
you
Because
have
then it's
more
safer.
control, and it's more safe.
So Cassius did a fabulous job cutting the core kind of out of that apple. And now what we can do is slice up these pieces. Do you see? We want sliced apples for this recipe, kind of like this size. And so Cassius is going to show us how to do that too. He's keeping his fingers well away from the knife.
And if you do get that, it's fine, because when you get the last piece, it's fine.
Now Polly's getting look, she's doing a fabulous job getting the topping all mixed up. So you want to get your hands right in there. And it's okay to get messy when you cook, as we're always saying. It really looks like it's almost done. You see, you want
If
little
some
pieces.
fell on the floor, it's a little bit okay.
You can just put it
You
in the
want it to
compost.
look like this.
It's not like you need a real
Okay.
perfect amount.
Okay,
No, exactly.
that's good.
Yeah, so that's perfect. So do you see how Polly's got little pieces of butter, like small pieces, and that's
Like
great for the
this.
topping.
This is butter.
Great. So we're almost finished cutting up this apple, and this is the kind of knife that we're using that our kids have used for a few years now. I
So
think.
we've had lots of practice. Because I've used this when I was little, and
Hold it up.
I've had lots of practice.
So you can buy these
So
knives.
right now I'm old enough when I'm this age.
Yeah. So Cash is almost 8. Polly uses this too, and this is a knife you can buy at the superstore, at the grocery store. It's got a curved, rounded top, so it's not pointy, and it's got a jagged edge. It's called serrated, which means that you can't cut anything. It's a little bit safer for kids because you're not going to like chop. You're not going to hurt yourself as much.
Yeah,
as
And I
serrated.
think it's done.
So we're back. We've cleaned up our workstation. We have our topping already, and now we're working on the filling. So Cash is measuring out 1 cup of raisins. Polly's going to measure out 1 teaspoon of vanilla.
On smell. Oh yeah, you can.
And make sure not to spill, but it's okay because it will be an accident.
That's right. We
See,
have
I
some.
just dropped 1 raisin.
That's right. We have some melted butter in here, 1 stick of melted butter, and this comes out very quickly. So we're going to pour nice and slow. And it's 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Very good. We got a little extra, but that's kind of okay. And Polly's going to mix the vanilla in with the butter. And we also have some salt, some brown sugar. That looks great. A little bit more. It should be right to the top. We want our cups to be right up to the top. And now we're going to do some brown sugar. We're going to do 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar in the filling, like that. Yes, that's great. So Cash, why don't you,
See
Cash is
that?
going to pour the raisins in here. Great. So Polly's going to add the brown sugar, and Cash is going to add the raisins. So let's dump it all in.
1, 2, 3.
Excellent. Stir it in. And we have
no
2
more
more
or
things.
less,
Cash,
so I can show you further.
great. Cash, let's
No more left.
we're going to do 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. So can you scoop out 1
This
teaspoon
looks
of
so
cinnamon
good. It
from
looks
your bag?
like chocolate with raisins.
1 teaspoon.
1 teaspoon of cinnamon, but push it off with your finger. Try to
Well,
keep
maybe
it
to
in the
you
dish.
it looks
Yeah.
yucky, but to me it looks delicious.
So once we've gotten all this mixed together, including a little bit of salt, we're going to mix it in with the apples. Salt is pretty important in desserts because it makes
smooth. Look,
beautiful.
See that?
Salt makes everything taste a little bit more like itself and a little bit stronger and better. So Cash, why don't you put the cinnamon right in here? Tap it off. You can tap off your spoons and your cups to make sure you have all of your ingredients in
And
your
it's
bowl.
this one.
Yeah, it says 1 teaspoon. You always want to measure salt
smells
over
really
something. Over something so that if you spill, it goes in your cup
Yeah.
and not in your on your table.
Yep, you're right, Mommy.
Great. So now we're gonna flatten it off. Great. And now, Cash, we put that in there. Excellent. Stir it all up. Wonderful.
Empty.
So now we're ready to mix the filling all together and put it in the pan. So Polly, why don't you scrape all that into the apples, and we'll get it all mixed together, okay?
So I'm going to scrape all this into this.
Yeah, so why don't you this could be a 2-person job. Here, I'll hold this, Cash. Why don't you take the spoon? Yeah, oh yeah, good work, Polly. Work together.
It's what it
Excellent.
looks like baked beans.
That's right. So it's important to talk about your ingredients and what they look like and
now we can
smell like,
mix them.
because when you're cooking, you're using all of your
Oh,
senses.
but don't spill.
We're gonna mix sort of carefully. It's a little bit of a full bowl. Why don't we'll sort of dig in and lift up like that. Do you want another turn? And then we'll get Cash a turn.
Is this still in here?
Lift. Almost like how you fold bread dough. You see
my
that?
gosh, salt. Thank you. So we're actually going to put a half a cup of our topping in with our filling. Mix it all together to make it even more delicious. So Cash, we want about half of this. Scoop about half of that, of the topping. This is just a sort of estimate. Maybe even a little less. Dump a little bit out. A little less. Yeah, that's great. So now dump that into the apples and we'll mix that in with the apples.
It'll look like this.
All right, put it in here. Great, and now we'll mix all that in, which means that those oats and the flour is going to help stick to the juice that the apples make when they get hot in the oven. They make juice, they sort of start to release their juice, and the flour and the oats are going to cling to that juice and make it sort of nice and like beautiful, like sticky filling.
We're making apple crisp.
This is
It's
great.
really fun.
So
and delicious.
let's put this in the pan because it's ready. And then we'll put the topping on and we'll get it in our oven that's been preheated. So it's 350 degrees for the oven and it's going to bake for about an hour, between 50 minutes and an hour. So you can get your grown-up to help you put it in the oven. And this is a pan that's 7.5 by 11. It's like just a baking pan. You could use a 8 by 8. You could use like a brownie pan. You can kind of use whatever pan you have. It could be metal or stainless steel or glass, like I'm using this glass one. And we're going to scrape it all out. You want to make sure you always get all of your ingredients into your pan, like that, and then make it flat, just like that. And now, Polly, why don't you bring over that topping? Bring the bowl of the topping over. Great, so we are in the pan and we're going to get our topping on. So here goes Polly with the topping. Shake it all the way across the pan so it's nice and even, and if it's not too super even, we can spread it out after. Here, Cash, why don't you help with that spoon and spread it all out. Great. Well, you could use this spoon and help with the spreading.
This is our topping.
So it may look like a lot of topping, but it's actually a perfect amount because when it cooks, the sugar all cooks down. It kind of gets all bubbly and crispy.
And then this covers the apple crisp.
That's right. It covers all the apples.
And then it gets all crispy on the top. And the topping is all crispy, but then when you crack open the topping, then you see a soft apple crisp.
Yes, so it's that combination of the crispy topping and the soft apples, and it makes a beautiful
still
dessert.
a bit.
So this probably serves,
that?
yeah, a little tiny bit. So this serves probably 8 people, at least. So you can make it for your family or your friends. So I'm going to put it in the oven now, and it's going to go in there for an hour. And after that, we'll taste it, and we'll tell you what it's like. So the apple crisp is ready. It's out of the oven, and you can see it's gotten much darker on the top, and I can hear it bubbling. And you might be able to hear it bubbling too. So yours should be doing the same thing, and you can just see that browned topping, and it's even more browned around the edges. So we have to let this cool, I would say, for probably 15 minutes. So this is a great idea to make ahead of time in the day if you're serving it after dinner, because it can sit for quite a while. And I'm going to put it down, and we're going to taste it in a little while, and I can't wait. So hi, we're going to do our vegetable cakes now. And Polly's starting by cracking one of our eggs. There are 3 eggs in these vegetable cakes. So Cash called them zucchini cakes, which they are. We have zucchini, onion, and potato. We're going to do 1 cup of cheese. I've already grated it. You can use any kind. This is cheddar. We're going to do some breadcrumbs. So we're using a kind of breadcrumbs called panko breadcrumbs, which are extra fluffy and light and crunchy. They actually have a little bit of yeast and a little bit of sugar in them. So you can buy those in the grocery store. So we're going to use a 1/4 cup of those. This beautiful egg yolk. Paul's going to add all 3 eggs and their eggs, yolks, and whites into the big bowl. And we're going to show you, so this is grated. I've already grated some of these vegetables. So this is zucchini and potato and onion that we've grated. Also salt goes in this recipe. So it's breadcrumbs, cheese, vegetables, eggs, and salt. And dump that whole bowl right into here. Dump the whole bowl in because we're using 3 eggs, so that makes the little cake stick together. That's great. And now here you can
Now I'm going to go wash my hands.
Okay. So I'm going to show you. Here's a little onion. I already grated our vegetables, but I'm just going to do a demonstration. So if you're cutting up an onion cutting it in half to get ready to grate it, cut the ends off like this. One end, other end. same grate knife Cash was using. Then you take the flat side down, just like Cash explained during the apple crisp part. Cut it in half, down like that. And then you have 2 halves, and it's easier to peel. So you take the peel off, and you take that peel off. Excellent. Mix the yolks and eggs together. Yep. And now grating an onion, you hold the root end where it's sort of all stuck together, and you take your grater. So you grate your onion, and it's going to start to come apart a fair amount. Like it's going to start to kind of separate. This one's actually doing pretty well, but here we go. So it starts to come apart. And what you do it as safely as you can, and then you keep the parts you haven't grated for another purpose. Chop them up, use them in a different recipe.
An entire onion. It's so amazing because like it feels like it's a hard clump, but actually it's made of like hundreds and hundreds of thin layers.
Yes, that's totally true. So it's so interesting to look at your vegetables and see what they actually look like underneath.
Like,
I find that really exciting.
Because it's made of like thousands of layers.
An onion does make your eyes water, and my eyes are watering right now, and it makes you kind of cry. And that's another thing you can pay attention to. But look, this is what's left after grating the whole onion for the recipe, and so you can use this in another recipe and chop it up.
If you look at onion.
So we'll put the onion in here. Ooh, that's hard on your eyes, hey? So now we're going to grate a little bit more potato. I already peeled it, and we're going to grate it here. And you want 1 whole kind of white or yellow potato. And then we have 1 whole zucchini that's been grated. So here's an exciting thing to do that we're going to do right now. Yep, so Polly can put the cheese. We want a whole cup, so we're going to measure the cup. So just take your hands and fill it up. I'll give you some space here. And fill it up with 1 cup of grated cheese. And, Cash, here's what we need to do now. We're going to squeeze the water out of these. So let's spread out a couple towels. Okay, we're going to spread out 1 towel here, and we're going to put a 2nd towel on top of it. You want to squeeze all the liquid out of your grated veggies. So just use any kind of kitchen towel. Here we go. Dump it out. See, look, you have the onion, the potato, and the zucchini. They all look a bit different. They're all a little bit of a different texture, and that's okay. And we're going to tie up the ends. So here, Cash, you want to tie up the ends, pull it all in like that, like a little bag, like a little sack. See? You hold this part. I know it's dripping, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to twist it and squeeze it. Cash, you want to squeeze with me? Squeeze it all out. See, there's so much water in these veggies that we want to make sure all of it comes out. And it all has to get into the bowl, and then your cakes will be light and fluffy. See that? So you probably want to, here, and then we're going to add the veggies into Polly's bowl where she has added the cheese. And you want to squeeze until you basically can't squeeze any more water out. So we're almost finished this, I think, and then we'll put it all together. Cleaning our hands. I'm going to tuck this off to the side. Okay. So Cash, here, let's move the bowl into the middle. We've got our compost, and we're going to take some breadcrumbs. So Polly, will you scoop it's a 1/4 cup of breadcrumbs. So Cash can have a turn. That's good. Maybe a tiny bit more. That wasn't quite full. Just a tiny bit more, though. Not all that much more.
This is eggs.
That's eggs and cheese. And here go the vegetables. So watch this. Here we go. It's the onion, potato, and zucchini. Mix it all together. That's right, Cash. So we're going to measure some salt now, Polly.
All the juice is squeezed out of these.
We want a 1/2 teaspoon of salt.
In this episode.
Yes. So the salt is our final ingredient. So it's pretty simple. So now take your finger and just flatten it off. 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Whoops. We knocked a little bit of it out, so we'll just add a little bit extra because some of it was bonked out. And there we go. And now we'll mix it all together.
That looks like a forest.
It looks like a forest. Yeah, see, again, it's so important to look at your ingredients and talk about what they're like. Because kids always have awesome things to say about what the ingredients look like and behave like. And that actually teaches you a lot because you can talk about how ingredients work. And then it's really just great for cooking and making your own food to just learn all about the ingredients that you use. So now we've tidied up our workstation, and now it's time to scoop up the patties and the crispy vegetable cakes and put them on the pan. And then they're going to go in the oven, which is at 400 degrees, for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to flip them over and cook them for another 15. So we already preheated the oven. That's the task you can get your grown-up to help with. So let's do it. I'm going to show.
Whole zucchini.
That's right. Yeah. I'm going to show you. We want pretty small, guys. So Cash and Polly, check it out. See this little ball of cake, and then it can just go boink right onto the tray. So, yeah, this makes about 20 of these. And they're about the size of a big, kind of a golf ball. Just like at the size you might make a little cookie. And you want to spread them out a bit because they do spread a bit because of the eggs. And maybe it doesn't make quite 20. Maybe 15 to 20. Depends on how big you make them. So you can just see. And you see how they stick together pretty well because of the breadcrumbs and the eggs. So they're, and also because we squeezed all that water out of the vegetables, right? So it's they don't, it's not, they're not, this is not a crumbly thing. And they get all nice and fluffy and brown and beautiful. Capella's going to wash her hands. We have one more. Here we go. Here's our last one. So we are going to say, how many do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 15. We have 15 of these beautiful cakes. So we're going to get them into the oven.
All this hard work is making me tired.
That's right. So I'm going to put them in the oven. I'm going to clean off my hands and put these in the oven. That's another task you can get your grown-up to help with, okay? So here are my oven mitts. Okay, so we're going to get it into the oven. And here we go. This is a task you can get your grown-up to help with. We're going to open the oven. Tuck them in. There we are.
Okay, so I think our treats and goodies are almost done.
It's time to flip the cakes also.
Again, a job you can get your grown-up to help you with. See, look, you can see that they're starting to brown underneath. I'm going to bring these over here, and it's a very hot tray. So, kids, why don't you stand back? Stand back. I need those because I'm going to put it on those. There we go. Now, remember, the tray is really hot. So, do you want to, here, Cash, why don't you, tell you what, put this on. How about that? You put this on so it's safer.
They look
And then
really good.
you can put this on your hand, the other hand. I guess it's your other hand. And then you can take this, and I'll do a little demonstration, okay? So I'll come over here, and here's what we do. You gently put your flat spatula underneath, and then you turn it over. Oh, careful, don't lift the whole thing there, Pauls. Don't touch it because it's really hot. Yeah, there we go. Yep, yeah, perfect. Look at that. So we flip all these over, and then 15 more minutes in the oven. So now they're all flipped over, and we're going to put them back in. So the zucchini cakes are ready to get out of the oven. So I'm going to take them out now. Ooh, look at those. Oh my gosh. So they've got brown bits on the top, and the ones on the edges are beautifully brown. They all look gorgeous. And so I'm going to let these cool for a few minutes, and then we're going to try them, and I can't wait. So the apple crisp has cooled enough that we can eat it, and I can't wait to try it. Let's try it, you guys. What do we think?
Really good.
It's delicious.
It's got that really crunchy topping, which is great, and then the beautiful soft apples inside that are like so perfectly cooked and delicious. And a little pop of raisins are really sweet.
And I'm going to try this zucchini cake.
You try yours.
I'm going to try the zucchini cake too.
I think you should try yours.
Mmm. 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 See, look at these. They're all crunchy and crispy on the outside.
But I want it a bit more first because it might be a bit hot.
These little cakes are nice and soft on the inside and crunchy on the outside, and they're so delicious. Thank you so much for watching with us today on this episode of Zucchini Cakes and Apple Crisp with Kids in the Kitchen.